What's going on, you guys? So, apparently, Sid Meier's came out with a new expansion pack. They announced that it's called Gathering Storm, and let's just jump right into the video here. See what it's all about.
Human advancement knows no boundary. But this has not been without its price.
That's not a good sign.
Though we stand at the height of prosperity, we need only look to the past to remember that nature is a power that cannot be ignored. Consuming even the mightiest empires and causing the greatest among us to tremble in her fury. Yet from adversity, the human spirit endures, finding ways to coexist with the earth. Or bend it to our cause. Pursuing a course beyond distant horizons and revealing paths both towards innovation and unintended catastrophe. Our survival necessitates new solutions to old problems. To ensure a future, both for ourselves and generations to come. United in purpose, we must now look beyond borders and welcome the dawn of the next era in human civilization.
Okay, so we know it has something to do with climate change and environmental factors. Okay, February 14th, so it's only a few months away. Now, although that was a great animation, I really did like it. I don't understand why a lot of development studios release just animations of like that. I would love to see some gameplay in, your announcement trailer. So what I'm gonna have to do is, I believe on the top right here they have like a stream first gameplay. So I'm gonna kind of link to that, and actually I'll continue that in this video. So, all right, here we go, guys. It's at 720p, and
hello, friends. This is Sid Meier.
Oh, wow.
From Axis Games.
Dude, that guy never
You might be familiar
ages.
with a game called Civilization. I actually designed that game about 27 years ago. It's been a while since we've had a chance to chat. So how have you been? Thanks. I'm good too. I really never could have imagined back then how the Civilization story would evolve.
All right, what I'm gonna do
Amazing
is,
to
although it's
watch.
awesome to hear him, and dude, that guy never ages, man. Like 20 years ago, he looked like that. All right, I'm gonna fast forward.
We can go to the climate log again, and we can see that for events where there are damaged in the event history, or actually, yeah, right there on the front screen, we can see 2 tiles were damaged and 1 unit was killed.
Which leads me
With the
into my
little
second
indicators at the bottom of that
favorite
bubble.
thing. This was shortly after Ed actually got volcanoes into the game. Once a volcano is active, generally you don't want to, be too near it because it has a higher percentage chance of actually erupting. And I was playing a religious game, sending my missionaries traipsing across my continent to another continent, so I'd kind of order them and forget it. And the first one never arrived. I have no idea why. I sent another one, and that one didn't arrive. So I sent military over thinking that, maybe barbarians or something had sniped them. But when I went back through my logs, I saw that a volcano erupted 2 times exactly while they were walking by it.
Because you're playing on chaos mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Emergencies. I know you'd mentioned a little bit with the disaster emergencies and how that kind of fits into World Congress.
Yeah, it's through the special session mechanic that Dennis was talking about. But one thing people will note here, there's a new item up on the top toolbar right to the right of the tourism icon. That's the diplomatic favor currency that is tracking. You don't normally get that early in the game. You have to get into one of the classical era governments or become suzerain of a city-state to start earning that per turn. But it's very cool what that does for you. It's not something that you only need if you're going for the diplomatic victory, because there are a lot of powerful things you can do with the World Congress if you have enough favor to get things, all the votes to come out the way you want them to. And one of the really cool things you can do is be the expected target of an emergency, but block the world from actually putting that emergency into play.
Oh.
Yes, that is fantastic, because the AI obviously can call special sessions as well. So if you're wronging them, if you've played your cards right and you're preparing for this epic takeover of the world, you would have been masquerading as the friendly guy the entire game and banking all of that favor for this moment when you do your big invasion, and you can actually stop people from calling emergencies because you have all of that favor banked. So,
All right, guys. So I found the website here. So a couple of things just taken away from that quick. I know I was jutting around the video that they had. I was really, as I was watching it, I was really kind of like impressed. I'm really got excited. I know I didn't show it because I was trying to keep quiet based on listening what they were saying. But adding an entire mechanic for climate change and environmental disasters is gonna be so amazing for this game. It's gonna add so much to the game in terms of not only, for example, like if you have a neighbor, right, that let's say, you know, the CO2 levels of the world are at a really dangerous level, and your neighbor is industrializing and not caring, you know, you can actually say, you know what, I'm not an expansionist, but I need to stop you from like destroying the world. So declare war and, you know, do it for a good reason. And I'm just thinking as they were playing the game, I was thinking I saw a volcano next to a city, that all these factors are going to affect your civilization's development. So not only do you have to expand for, you know, just because you want to expand and create a big empire, but you're going to have to expand because what if you build a city and then all of a sudden next to that city is a volcano? You're going to have to ensure the survival of your empire by making sure that you have other cities in different areas of the world that are not next to a volcano that can wipe you out in a millisecond. So I mean, things like that are amazing. And then you have flooding, and then you have all these other factors that come into play that is going to change the dynamics of the game. It's just really wow. So it's launching for Windows PC on February 14th. It's going to add new technologies, engineering projects, fan favorite World Congress. Also adds 8 new civilizations and 9 new leaders, 7 new world wonders, a variety of new units, districts, buildings, improvements, and more. All right. Trying to see if there's anything juicy that I can... Okay, here we go. Volcanoes, storms, and floods, oh my. All right, this expansion, we're unleashing the force of nature to bring the world to life in a way that you've never seen before. We've always had floodplains in the game, but I've always found it disappointing that they were completely static. No longer. We've enlarged the floodplain areas to include flat grasslands and plains tiles next to rivers, so these valleys can offer the potential of increasingly high yields. So you'll still want to settle there. But now doing so comes with real risk. Periodically, each of these rivers will flood, damaging structures throughout the floodable tiles. But don't worry, there's an upside. First, you can migrate the effects with our new dam district. Oh, that's going to be cool. And once you've rebuilt, the flood will have enhanced a number of those tiles with rich, fertile soil. I love the way this works out. Throughout history, civilizations have risen and flourished in dangerous places like volcanoes or in river valleys. They will experience those same high-risk, high-reward decisions as you plot where to settle in your next civilization campaign. Wow. Another exciting environmental effect is the additional volcanoes. They offer some of the same risk-reward decision as floods, with eruptions occurring periodically. When you see the magma spilling out from the side of one of these, you'll know there's going to be damage to adjacent tiles. However, the long-term benefits are there with the yields provided by the volcano soil left behind. We all have also been able to use volcanoes to add a level of realism to our map generation. We've also had continents in Civilization 6, but the geology didn't necessarily correspond to continental boundaries as you might expect. We've updated all that so you find the mountain ranges you expect along these continental divides, as well as volcanoes and geothermal fissures. Wow. We've also taken the volcanoes we already had in our natural wonder system, made them really powerful. As we added more significant geographic features, we thought there should be a way to identify them. This inspired the addition of named features. So every time a new feature, river, volcano, mountain range, or desert is discovered, is named after a discovering civ. Wow, that's cool. Now, if Egypt starts on a river, that waterway will officially be designated as a Nile River. Of course, this gets tricky when a civ like the Netherlands discovers a volcano. In that case, it will be named for a civ that isn't currently in the game. Ends up becoming an interesting geographic trivia game while you play, and the better you are with river and mountain names, the more clues you get about which other civilization may be present in this particular civilization world. Cool. During Gathering Storm development, we have floods and volcanoes working, but we decided the world wouldn't truly be alive without adding in some sort of weather system. So we added droughts and 4 different kinds of storms to spread the risk of succumbing to a natural disaster across the map. And we had fun adding in some of the historical impacts you might imagine storms would entail. So we have hurricanes that can sink ships at sea. Wow. So you're going to have to make sure you can't just leave a ship at a tile. You have to move that fracker now. So we now have dust storms sweeping across the desert and choking nearby cities, and blizzards of Russian terrain being particularly dangerous for invading armies. Though all storms can cause damage, dust storms and hurricanes can be valuable in adding fertility to effective tiles. Wow. Okay. So lots of. I'm probably not going to read all of this, but let me just kind of briefly go through this stuff. The dam district I mentioned above, historical aspects. And you guys can pause it, but I'm just trying to find anything that's juicy here. Oh wow, you can create both mountain tunnels and railroads. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's going to be really awesome. I like that. Man, this is a huge DLC, man. It's adding so much more to the game than I thought possible. I mean, not thought possible, but figured that, usually with DLCs that they tweak it. It's nothing huge. This one's huge. And then avoiding the great mistake. Of course, things are not as always that easy, and there are some conflicts between mankind and our planet. So introducing global warming and climate change made sense, and expansion focused on interactions with the planet. It is also mapped well to our goal to add depth to a second half of the game. We felt that a player shouldn't be able to exist in a vacuum alongside the game world. Rather, we want a relationship between these two where every turn, every decision can have a lasting and global impacts. In Gathering Storms, you can use the power system to improve effectiveness of some of your late game buildings. There are some strategic resources that can be burned for fuel, coal, uranium, oil, but doing so will have an adverse effect on CO2 levels in the world and impact the global temperature of the planet. This increases the chances of flooding and storms. Sea levels can rise and may affect the polar ice caps. As you settle coastal cities, it's important to keep an eye on the level of risk with rising sea levels, just in case you and your neighbors become reliant on strategic resources for power. But additional research will provide alternative options, geothermal energy, wind farms, solar farms, and more. Wow. This is amazing. So obviously this screenshot here, if you don't stop the CO2 levels, this beautiful city that you have here, this monumental city and infrastructure can go the way of the dinosaur. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So, favor is a new form of currency to track your diplomatic goodwill. It serves as a voting power in the World Congress so you can get the world community to adopt your ideas. On the other side, we replace the warmonger score with grievances. This acts as a tug of war between a pair of players. If you have been on the receiving end of a surprise attack and retaliated by taking a few cities, I think you'll appreciate how this system has been updated. The other leaders are now likely to feel that such a countermove was entirely appropriate. In the World Congress, you'll be able to vote using favor on resolutions. Oh, I really love this. Jeez, man. Wow. Holy shit, man. This is a whole huge DLC. Congress mandated rules that last until the next meeting of the World Congress. These are choices being positive and negative effects and have specific targets. For example, you may vote to ban furs and chopping rainforests, while players may choose to ban further building construction in certain districts. Favor is also useful to get the world community to sponsor global competitions such as world fairs, world games, disaster relief, and emergencies, and each of these competitions have a unique set of rewards. So how does this tie into diplomatic victory? Besides periodic votes for this role as a world leader, granted points toward the victory condition. And you got a volcano spewing, destroying whatever you have there. All right, so in summary, wow, there's a lot of awesome. Oh, wow, this Black Death can ravage Europe and Western Asia in the mid-14th century, killing a greater share of the population than any event in history. Wow, okay. War Machine at the outset of World War I, the German invade. Okay. So, environmental factors are the biggest one. That's, without a doubt, this is the biggest part of the DLC. Then you got power and consumable resources. Strategic resources play an additional role in gathering storm. These resources are not consumed in power plants to generate electricity for your cities. Initially, be powering your most advanced buildings by burning carbon-based resources like coal and oil, but renewable energies sources also unlock as you progress to current-day technologies. Your choices about resource usage will directly affect the world's temperature and can cause melting ice caps and rising sea levels. Engineering projects shape the world around your empire to overcome unfavorable land conditions by making improvements like canals, dams, tunnels, and railroads, while settling cities. Consider the flood risk to coastal lowland areas, but keep in mind that in the late game, new technologies like flood barriers can be used to protect these tiles. World Congress make your voice heard among the world leaders, earn diplomatic favor through alliance, influencing city-states, competing in world games, and more. Use diplomatic favor to extract promises from other leaders. Vote on resolutions. I'm going to really love that part. Call a special session to address an emergency like somebody using too much coal to influence CO2. Increase the weight of your votes in a quest to achieve diplomatic victory. A new era has been added to technology and civis trees. Combat new environmental effects with speculative ideas such as relocating your population out to seasteads and developing technologies to recapture carbon emissions. And then you got new civilizations, new civs. Wow. And it's coming for PC on February 14th, 2019. I wonder if this is going to come for the iPad, because it is available on the iPad and iPhone. So I wonder if they're going to kind of make that available on that. It looks like they just mentioned Windows PC right now. But so guys, I haven't been excited about a Civilization game for a while. This definitely has changed that. I think this is going to add so much more to the game. Because honestly, before you used to set up a city and, just focus on defense, research, and trade. That's basically it. And you just kind of grew. Now, this changes everything because, if you settle right next to these two volcanoes, you're in a world of shit. Like these tiles around it can cause a lot of problems. I don't know how far these volcanoes can affect. If these two go off, can they knock out, my cities here? Can an entire region be destroyed? I mean, wow. And then you got to worry about hurricanes every few years that'll, destroy your fleet or maybe run on land and destroy tiles. These are things that you're going to have to affect CO2 levels as well. So much stuff that you have to deal with. And then, you're going to have a World Congress that's going to alter the effect of gameplay in terms of expansion. And, oh, man, I love this. Anyway, guys, I hope you're as motivated as I am about this. I am really motivated. Really looking forward to it. I am definitely picking up Civilization 6 because of this. And just to give you a heads up, Civilization 6 is on sale right now on Steam, as well as the iPad and iPhone versions. It's under $20. So pick it up, because when this comes out, this should be, for me at least, an instant buy. Anyway, guys, I will catch you guys in the next one.